There comes a time in everyone's life when you leave one home and find another. When the joy of familiar gives way to the joy of the new. New friends, new focus, a new start, a new home. A town you can call your own and a community where you can be known. The feeling of family. This new home is not perfect, but it is yours. This is where your story begins its second act. This is home. May you be supported, cherished, seen, challenged, and loved. May you grow into everything you were made to become. And may you find your home away from home.
All right. I had my jacket on, and then Desi got going on Reckless Love, and it got a little toasty in here, so I had to break free from that. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to College Nights. If we did not get to meet earlier, my name is Josh Bayne. I have been on staff at Athens Church for about 12 and a half years. I graduated from the University of Georgia. I came on staff at our church this whole time. We got a Georgia fan here tonight. That's awesome. Who would have thought? At College Nights. No, thanks. Graduating is a big deal, okay? And it's not to be taken lightly, so I appreciate that encouragement. Mom, thanks for that. So I've been on staff this whole time. I've been in charge of our music, and I mentioned it earlier, but this summer I've been in the process of transitioning into a new role on our team, specifically that of college director. We never had one of these before, which is fun. Our church has so many college students at it, but now is our kind of first time to have one of those, and I'm just so excited. I am married. I have 3 kids under the age of 5. Some of you got to meet them earlier. I really wanted to bring them up here on stage. Here's the thing. They are so sweet until about 8 o'clock at night. And then, all bets are off with their behavior, and so we thought it best to not do that tonight, but we just love being in a college town. Athens, Georgia is the best college town in the world, in my opinion. We love raising kids in a college town. We went to the beach not too long ago, and there was this, I guess we call it an incident, but there was this, some guys playing cornhole on the beach, but specifically they were playing with Florida Gator cornhole boards. And so my 4-year-old walks up to them and says, "We don't like the Florida Gators, we're Georgia Bulldogs." And then she starts taunting him, "Go Georgia Bulldogs." And the guy is looking at me like, "Is this really happening?" I'm like, "Oh, it's happening." We have a 2-year-old, and she confessed the other day that she's a Florida fan, which granted, she's 2, so she's not, all the way there yet in the head. And so our 4-year-old, who is the favorite child, said to her, "Well, look, if you're such a Florida fan, then you can just move to Florida, but we're never going to visit you." So just so you kind of know a little bit about where we're at, we love being here. We love being here with you guys in Athens. Athens has been my home since 2004 when I graduated high school and moved here. And I say that because some of y'all were pretty young in 2004. And honestly, when I stepped into this role as college director, one of my big concerns was just, am I too old to do this job? And my fears were confirmed at our first Bible study we had over the summer when an incoming freshman, maybe she's here tonight, referred to me on multiple occasions as, quote, Mr. Josh. So Mr. Josh is here tonight, so honored to be your new college director. And I want to tell you just a little bit about our church if you've never been here before. Tonight's kind of an introduction, if you will. It's the fall kickoff. And one of the things I love the most about our church is that we are a multi-generational church. In other words, we have young people and previously young people and everybody in between all worshiping together. And the people who are drawn to our church tend to be drawn to it for this reason, right? Like the people that are drawn to this church are drawn to our church because they're looking to be in a multi-generational church. The college students who are drawn to our church are drawn to our church because they want to be typically around older people, right? The college students who tend to choose our church want to have a mentor and they want to be a mentor, which means if you're an adult who snuck into the room tonight, you are actually one of the biggest reasons why the college students who love our church picked our church. They're so glad that you're here. And the other way is true as well. That the adults who picked this church, we picked this church because you're here. Like we could have gone to some other church where there's just only older people and we just sing a whole bunch of old songs and we could wear khaki pants and do whatever. But we wanted to be in a place that's got your energy. So if you're a college student in the room, you got to know you are one of the biggest reasons why us old folks picked this church. We love it that you are here. We want you to be here. And so if we are a multi-generational church in the greatest college town in America, thank you very much. Tonight, I want to talk about what does that mean for us as the college ministry. And I did a version of this talk 2 weeks ago in Big Church for the adults and basically asked them for a bunch of money to fund our college ministry. But tonight I want to talk about what does it mean for you? Like, how do you fit into this? How do you plug into this? Now, show of hands. Any freshmen in the house tonight? Just show of hands. That is awesome. Can we give it up for the freshmen? Everybody's freshman, move-in experience is a little different, but they all end up kind of the same. At some point, you end up at Target or Walmart, right? Buying a whole bunch of stuff you don't really need. I remember we got just all these tubs. It was like, what are we going to put in the tubs? I don't know. Do we have room for the tubs? Probably not in this dorm room, but we got some tubs. Depending, if your family came from a lot of money, then you got a mini fridge, right? That's cool to walk the halls of the dorm and kind of see where all the wealth is distributed, on 9th floor, Brumby or whatever. And my favorite is the futon. Anybody get a futon this year? The futon is a once-in-a-lifetime college opportunity. You never had one of these before. You're never going to have one of these again. Sounds like something the Jetsons would have made up. If you're not familiar, the futon is as if somebody said, how can we make a couch as disposable as possible? So if you still need one, they sell these at IKEA. You're going to want one a little less nice than that. But I love the futons. And so you're at Target, you're at Walmart. And eventually you get back to your dorm, the sun's starting to set, mom's trying not to cry, you know what I mean? And then somebody asks this question. Do you have everything you need? Anybody's mom or dad asked them this question within the last 10 days? And you say yes, and they drive back home to Alpharetta crying the whole way. And then you realize, no. Are you familiar with this? This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Bring anybody back to psychology class. So Abraham Maslow was a psychologist, and he one psychology major down here is really fired up. This is your night at college nights. Okay, well, the way the theory goes is we have all these needs in life, kind of from, I didn't know Maslow's hierarchy of needs would get nearly this much energy, but I'm really excited about it. That you have these different needs in life, essentially from surviving to thriving. And the way your brain works is it scans every environment that you're in to just find out that it's okay. That you're okay. Some of you did this tonight when you walked in. You saw a big hot air balloon, you said, I'm gonna be okay. And so whatever, you're scanning the environment in every spot that you're in just to know that you're gonna be okay. And you can't kind of graduate up till the next level until you know that you're safe, right? That's just kind of how God has wired you. And Maslow wrote about this. Now, I'll explain this. A few years ago, we went to the Georgia Notre Dame game up in South Bend. And so we were flying down, and I don't remember the hurricane, I should know this. Was it Michael or Matthew? Big hurricane coming through. The current hurricane is Laura, which is my wife's name. I've been living with that hurricane for 8 years, but that's another message for another time. Kidding, babe. Love you. I'm going to be in big trouble later. She's going to watch the on-demand video we released later, so you guys can watch this with your roommates. Anyhow, so we're up in Chicago. We're flying back, and don't ask me why, but American Airlines canceled the flight before ours and the flight after ours because it was not safe enough to fly back to Atlanta in a hurricane, but they let us go. At which point you're like, do we have a will? And you're just saying your prayers and I'm, rededicating my life to the Lord there in the O'Hare Airport. But we're flying back, and if you've never flown on top of a hurricane before, it's a sight to see. And there was this wonderfully chatty lady next to us, and she just wanted to talk about all the things. Tell me about your family. How's it going? Did you win the game? What's going on? Tell me about your family. And at a certain point, I just had to essentially be like, lady, I would love to talk right now, but I'm trying not to die right now. I'm trying not to die right now. I can't talk about love and belonging right now. I'm trying not to die. And that's kind of how Maslow's hierarchy of needs works. This explains how one virus could kind of shut the whole world down, right? It's not that we don't, want love and belonging in our life. I mean, nobody is really would call 2020 the most self-actualized year of your life. But we just hadn't been able to focus on some of these other things because we had to give so much attention right here. And here's what I've learned about you. When it comes to stepping back into college in the middle of a global pandemic, you guys are taking this very seriously. I mean, just way to go tonight. Social distancing, masks, way to go. I've been telling everybody I know, the college students are taking it more seriously than the adults. Because you have something to lose, right? That's the tension you walk around with. And many of you have lost so much over the last 5 months. So you take this seriously, but most of you are not scared of this. You didn't drive back to Athens 2 weeks ago worried about this. This is what you're worried about. This is what you're afraid of, right? How this would affect this. And it makes sense. What's worse than not having love and belonging? Maslow would say if you have these two needs met, then nothing is worse than having love and belonging. And mom and dad took care of this at Target, and UJ's been working on this. But what about this? Like, where are you finding love and belonging in a town where you might know more Chick-fil-A's than people? Now, ironically, you come to college for these things, right? You came to college to grow in your self-esteem and your confidence and your self-actualization to become all that you've been able to become. But you can't have that without this. And can I just press in? This is like a special word for somebody tonight. You come into the room tonight, you're feeling like there's a self-esteem out there. There's like a confidence that you're so close to. You can almost picture the self-esteem that's possible for you, but you can't quite reach it. And Maslow would say you don't have a self-esteem problem. You have a love and belonging problem. You need a place to belong. You need a place to connect. And if UJ has been working on this all summer, I've been working on this. I've been working on how can we make this a place where more and more you can belong. Now, we don't need a verse tonight to know that out of all the things on this list, this is the one that the church should do. Like, this is what the church's role is. So I didn't come to give you a lot of verses tonight. We're going to start a new series in 3 weeks at College Nights, and we got a ton of verses, and I can't wait to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you about it in a second. But tonight, I'm just going to I didn't come to give you a lot of verses. But what I came tonight to tell you was a vision. I want to give you vision for why this matters and why, honestly, why I think you should be a part of what's going on here. And I want to give you some steps to take. Specifically, 3 steps that you could take that if you chose to do them, I believe that you would find the love and belonging that you're looking for. So, brief history about our church. This is our mission. Our mission is to lead people into a growing relationship with Jesus Christ. Our church started 15 years ago. This is the mission. Why do these people talk about Jesus so much? That's just what we do. There's no hidden agenda around here. This is what we believe. This is what we want to do. We want to lead people into a growing relationship with Jesus Christ. But this is our vision for college ministry, okay? This is who we want to be. And we want to be, for you, a home away from home. This is the vision. We want Athens Church to be a home for you. We want it to feel like home for you. We want to open up our doors for you as much as we can, even if it's just for 4 years and then you leave. Hear me when I say this. That's still worth it to me. We love living in a college town because this is a sending town. Because you're gonna, and this is the kind of the bittersweet part about college ministry, right? But you're here and then you're gonna leave. But when you leave, you're gonna go be a part of government and the arts and business and technology and education and the medical field. And we love being a part of your life. Now, some students are better than others at checking back in, seeing how things are going. But I have heard on more than one occasion, truly all the time, a student say it wasn't UGA, right? It wasn't UNG, it wasn't Athens Tech, it wasn't my school that made college home for me. And it wasn't Athens, even how cool Athens is, and hashtag Athens I love you. Our church, that's our church's motto. We made that. We love Athens. But what I have heard time and time again is that it was the church that made my college years home. It was the church where I found belonging. It was the church that looked after me. It was the church that took care of me. It was the church that cared about me and challenged me and opened their doors to me and fed me and believed in me. It was the church that made this place home. So what does it look like for this to be home for you? As we're here at our fall kickoff, trying to figure out how to start the semester, there's a lot of people here who've never been to Athens Church before. Praise God, that's amazing. I want to tell you 3 things that we essentially offer for college students, 3 ways that this could be home for you. And I want to tell you kind of what your role is in them. I went over with the grown-ups what their part is. I want to tell you what your part is. And at the end, I want to give you what I call a success question. In other words, how do we know that we're winning? How do you know that you're winning? How do we know that we're really making this a home away from home? The first thing that we offer for you would be college nights. Congratulations, you're 1 for 1. You made it. The college nights are once a month. These are the kind of big event part of what we do. The next one's actually in 3 weeks. I mentioned that a second ago, September 5th. But this is cool. Sundays, we're all spread out all across the buildings. We have a 9:15 service. Some college students are there. We have an 11 o'clock service. Some college students are there. We have some college students who serve with the babies down in Wombaland, some who serve with the teenagers down in Inside Out, and a lot of you just sleep in. And that's fine. No judgment, right? And so college nights is our chance to kind of be all together, albeit socially distanced, and I can't see all your faces, but all together in one room. And this was just an idea I had a few years ago. Ironically, this is just kind of neat. Before we had a college director, we had this role approved, and we didn't know who we were going to hire. And so I talked to our pastor, Sean. I said, hey, if you're telling me you got money to pay somebody, could we at least do some stuff for the students? Like, could we at least gather together and just put on some events to let college students know that this can be a home for them? And the big idea for college nights is that it's kind of like a medium thing, right? That it's not, big church. That can be scary to walk into, especially if you've never been here before, right? Am I in an airport? What is this? It's not big church, and it's not small group, which is, I love small group, but it's kind of this just medium thing. And I don't know about you or how you are processing tonight, but from my vantage point, tonight is powerful. And it's powerful, and I hope that it reminds you just more than anything that you're not alone. Because there will be days, and maybe you've already felt it, right? I mean, you thought you were overwhelmed before you got here, but then now you're here and you're still overwhelmed. And there will be days that you wake up and you wonder if you're the only person in this city or on this campus who's trying to live in a Godward direction, who's trying to make the most of their college years by living for Jesus. You will wonder that some days. And then you will come to college nights and you will look around and you will realize I am not the only one. That there's a lot of people like me who have found their place here, and it's UGA, I said it earlier, but it's UNG and it's Athens Tech and it's Emmanuel College and it's Piedmont, right? Hundreds and sometimes thousands of college students realizing that they have a place. And I just want to tell you, and hopefully this is clear, and hopefully the 12-foot banner that says home away from home provides some clarity for you, but this is your place. You are welcome here. We built this place for you. We do all this, and the band, and all of us old people, you stand up way past our bedtime, coming here to sing songs for you because we care about you. Messages just for you. And so I just want you to know, this is your place if you want it to be. Now, what's your part? So I asked all the old people to give us all their money, basically, to fund this thing, because you guys don't have any money, to put on events and stuff and rent a hot air balloon. But what's your part? Your part is I want you to invite your friends. That's kind of how this works. We talk about inviting all the time around here. This is a huge deal, especially now, just in light of how lonely the world is, right? It is so important to get out and do something that just makes you better and give you life. And you have to be careful, but honestly, it's the loneliness that you guys are experiencing. It's the isolation that you guys are experiencing that have pushed me to want to do this, to want to gather together like this right now. And one invitation from you to somebody else on your hall or somebody else on your team or your fraternity or your sorority, wherever you have influence, could absolutely change the direction of their life. Some of us have had some life-changing moments before the message even started tonight. So I want you to invite your friends, and specifically, I want you to invite your friends who don't normally go to church. I want you to invite your friends to college nights and to Athens Church who do not normally go to church. This is such a big deal around here, okay? The thing that makes our church different is that we want to be a church that unchurched people love to attend. Our church started my freshman year, and I just remember our pastor just talking. We were at a gathering before our church ever started, a tiny little coffee shop that doesn't even exist. And he said, Athens doesn't need another church. We got churches on every corner. But what we need is a church where we can invite our unchurched friends to. So I want you to invite your friends who don't normally go to church. We're committed to making this a welcoming place, right? We're going to talk in words that make sense. We're going to have passionate worship for sure, right? We're going to talk, we're going to go deep in our messages, but not deep in a confusing way, right? We're not going to talk about, get really weird with stuff. We're going to go deep in a way that actually talks about the issues that we go through in our life. So specifically, I want you to use college nights. I want you to use Athens Church as a tool for the people in your life that you're trying to reach. Does that make sense? So when you have somebody that you meet and you're trying to invest in them and you're trying to care for them and they're struggling with something going on in their life and you're just trying to be a light to them, and if you're a Christian, you're trying to just kind of, whatever that looks like, to kind of share Jesus with them, and that's kind of awkward and weird to know how to do that, right? I want you to use Athens Church, use college nights, bring them here. Even if you don't stick here, and that's fine. Our church is not for everybody. Trust me, our church is not for everybody. You know that. You've already talked to people in this town who were at the church is not for them, right? Because it's too big or it's too loud or it's too something. That's fine. At the church is not for everybody. Even if you pick and land somewhere else, and I hope you do. I don't care where you land. I trust our church. I trust our small group leaders. But even if you land somewhere else, I hope you remember that this is a place literally that exists for you to invite your unchurched friends to. And if you ever meet somebody you're in class with, or you live with, or somebody that lives in the fraternity house or sorority house with you, and they're kind of getting started on their faith, or they're kind of coming back to faith, or just checking faith out, please invite them here. That we live for that. Now, to help you with that, I want to tell you about something we're doing in 3 weeks. So we don't do college nights weekly, we do them monthly. And I told somebody that earlier, and they were like, oh, thank goodness, because there's stuff all the time. I don't even know how to pick. So maybe once a month I can actually do that. And so once a month we do college nights. Our next one's in 3 weeks, September 19th. And we are starting a brand new series just for you, just for college students. I'm going to be teaching it, so I can give, with great confidence that it's going to be relevant. And the series is called Quarter Life Crisis. Anybody feel like your life's in crisis? Like, it's weird to think about that your life may be a quarter over, but if the average life expectancy is 76 and you're 19, you do the math yourself, okay? And for a lot of us, we wouldn't say it like that. Sorry, you're like, oh my gosh, okay. Isn't that kind of why some of the uneasiness that you feel in your life? Because you're not a kid anymore? You're kind of stepping on the verge of adulthood. You're here at college, you got all the adult responsibilities in the world. Right? You're not a kid anymore. And for some of us, that has led us to crisis. Janie mentioned earlier, but there's so much anxiety, right? We don't know where we're going. A lot of times we don't even like who we're becoming, right? And so in this series that starts in 3 weeks, and we'll put it on social media, post about it so you remember, we're gonna answer 3 questions, 3 kind of big ideas in the series. Who am I? Where am I going? And why am I so anxious? Who am I? Where am I going, and why am I so anxious? The first message in 3 weeks is all about anxiety. We're talking about anxiety at college nights. I hope that makes you less anxious, not more to think about. In October, we're going to talk about self-worth. I am fired up about that talk because I've talked to so many of y'all who have, you would say you've lost your self-worth. And you don't know where it went, and you don't know how to get it back, but you know that it's possible. And so we're going to talk about self-worth. I hope you invite the whole town to that week. And then in November, we're going to talk about just your direction in life. Like, how do we know where I'm going? How do I make choices? That's really hard. Some of you are at the doorstep of really big choices. And how do I know what God's will for my life is? And is there like one specific thing? And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to help you with that, right? So I am inviting you, and if I sound semi-desperate, I'm urging you to use this series to invite somebody. If you meet somebody who kind of feels like their world's in crisis, invite them here in 3 weeks to college nights. If you feel like your world's a little bit in crisis and you're trying to just kind of get grounded a little bit, be here in 3 weeks. All right, the second thing, and I'm gonna go a little faster, is serving. Each week, hundreds of college students all across this building are serving. I say serving, really leading. Leading teams, leading meetings, leading worship. If you're a leader, you can lead here. And college students are serving on a Sunday morning, specifically like in Wombaland, holding the babies down there, in Upstreet with elementary school, and Transit for middle school, and high school for Inside Out, production team, guest services team. This is happening all throughout their building every Sunday morning. Now, if you walk in the doors of this church, you would have no idea that was even happening, right? In fact, you probably have walked in the doors of this church and thought before, how could I ever get involved here, right? Like, is it even possible to really plug in, to really be known, to really play a part, to really get connected? And if you start serving here, the answer is an unequivocal yes. This is Christine's story. Christine's a college student. We blew up the picture a little bigger. You can't read the caption. But essentially, in her caption on Instagram, she said, a succession of small group leaders. Debbie, this was her caption, Debbie leads Mary Ashley leads me, I lead Sam, and Sam leads Adeline. Does this make sense? I'll break it down. So Debbie leads Mary Ashley's small group at Athens Church of kind of early, newlywed people. Mary Ashley leads Christine's college group. Christine leads Sam's group in student ministry, and Sam leads Adeline's group in Wombaland. If you decide to get involved and start serving here, you put yourself right in the middle of the most amazing story. And people asked, we had a Zoom call with some new, kind of freshmen this summer, and somebody asked, like, what's the difference between Athens Church and a campus ministry? And we love campus ministry, and I was involved in one when I went to school here. But this is the difference. When I say we're a multi-generational church, that's what I mean. Debbie leads Mary Ashley. Mary Ashley leads me. I lead Sam. Sam leads Adeline. And that could be you. Serving is the quickest way to make friends. I could do a whole deal to try to sell you on that, but I'm not going to. But specifically, if you're here and you're thinking, I want to get involved. I talked to somebody earlier in the lobby who's like, honestly, I just want to hold the babies. Can I go play with the babies? Yes, you can. We need you to come play with the babies. If you are interested in getting involved serving, whether it's in a kids thing, guest services, honestly, some of y'all are so friendly. Some of you just have a gift for encouragement, for just greeting people. We need you doing that. Some of you have our production tech kind of gifts. And you come in here and you're like, oh my gosh, this could be my place. Yeah, like you could make us better, right? And so if you are interested in getting involved serving, the way to do that is something we do called Backstage Pass. Backstage Pass is for anybody interested in getting involved serving. We do this 2 or 3 times a year. Fortunately for you, the next one is this Sunday. Okay, 2 or 3 times a year, the next one is this Sunday. And the way Backstage Pass works is you literally get to tour all the environments of the church, kind of go behind the scenes. Some of you walked in tonight and were like, this place is kind of cool, kind of wish I could look around. You have only seen a slice of Athens Church if you just kind of were hanging right here and getting your burrito. But at Backstage Pass this Sunday, you could tour all the environments, check out all behind the scenes, go see my 2-year-old or my 2-month-old. Yeah, now, wow, I have a 2-month-old. A 2-month-old down in Wambaland. You could see what's going on in the student ministry world. You'll tour all the different environments. And at the end, you just sort of decide if you want to pick one to learn more about. You're not signing your life away, right? When you pick one, if you say, I want to hang out with the middle schoolers, you know, I just have a heart for these smelly, awkward middle schoolers, right? You know, if that is the grace that God has given you to want to serve with our middle schoolers, then you would pick that. And then our middle school team would just invite you to come hang out on a Sunday, right? Honestly, some of you had such a rough middle school, like you kind of have a heart for that. That kind of sounds fun to think about giving away some of your college years to lead a small group of 6th graders or 8th graders, right? So you'll just tour and kind of just see if one of them is right for you. So the way to sign up for Backstage Pass, you kind of have 2 options. You can go on our website, athachurch.com, any point tonight or whatever, and sign up. Just pick whenever you come. It's actually during the service time. So this will happen at 9:15 and 11 on Sunday. So if you were going to come to one of the services, you could do Backstage Pass at the other, or just do Backstage Pass instead. That's fine. But you sign up on our website or on our Instagram account, at Athens Church College, which if you're not following our Instagram account, at Athens Church College on Instagram, at Athens Church College. You got to, because that's where we put all the info and all the updates. And honestly, it's how some of you found out about this, which is pretty cool. But in our bio, there's a link where you can sign up for Backstage Pass. It's this Sunday. If you think you might want to do it, I urge you to do it. Honestly, this is a great time for you to get involved serving at Athens Church. As people are starting to come back to church, in a kind of safe kind of way, not all of our volunteers can, just because of their situation. Maybe they're in a kind of a high-risk group. And so my kind of dream, what if the college students were the ones that kind of filled that gap? What if the college students were the people that kind of helped fill that gap? Maybe God brought you here kind of for such a time as this to get involved serving. So that's Backstage Pass. Our church started, I mentioned my freshman year, and I'll never forget a message that our pastor gave at one of the first gatherings. He said, adults don't have a lot of time to give because of just the season of life and their kids and work and everything, but they actually might have a lot of money to give, like the grown-ups. And college students, we don't have a lot of money to give. I mean, I tithed when I was in college, but 10% of zero is zero, But you might actually have a lot of time to give. It doesn't mean you shouldn't prioritize tithing. You should. I tithe. I for a long time, have given 10% of everything that God gives me, give it right back to the church. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do that. But it is possible that especially right now, that if the grown-ups kind of lead the way in their giving and we lead the way in serving, we could move this mission forward. So Backstage Pass is this Sunday. I hope 200 of you sign up for that. Last thing, and then we're going to wrap up, is groups, small groups. We have groups for guys and girls. There's generally about 10 guys or 10 girls in a group. They're broken down by grade. They meet in homes of an adult leader, right? A lot of our groups will meet outside right now, which is totally awesome, right? I mean, they'll meet on the back porch or meet here on the green space, or they'll meet on North Campus or wherever, just to be comfortable, right? If we need to flex online because the world falls apart again, we can do that. But I believe the best way to experience home away from home is to actually be in a home. The best way to experience home away from home is actually being in a home. And our groups actually start this Sunday. There have been literally many hundreds of you that have already signed up for a group at Athens Church, which is wild, but there are still some spots. And I believe everybody ought to be in a group somewhere, Athens Church, wherever, this semester specifically. Just in light of what the last 5 months have been like for you, how isolated they've been, how lonely you've felt, how uncertain they've been, and even just in light of just the uncertainty in the next couple of weeks, right? To know that no matter what, I've got my group of guys. I've got these guys. Like I can lean on them. I've got this group of girls. I got a place to go. Honestly, I hope you join a group so you have something to look forward to. For me, one of the hardest things about the pandemic has just been all the things I was looking forward to, I had to erase them all from my calendar. And I love like looking forward and dreaming about that vacation or that, sporting event or that, whatever. And they all went away. And so for me, it's like join a small group just so you have something to look forward to. Now, some of you have had a bad group experience in your past, right? Some of you had a bad group experience in high school. And so as soon as I started talking about small groups, you're not going to do small groups. And I just want to level with you, be very blunt with you. You don't give up on burritos because you had one bad experience at Moe's. Am I right? No, you grow up, you come to college, you try bar burritos. Maybe you reach your most self-actualized moment at Chipotle. I don't know what it is for you, but you don't give up on burritos because you had one bad experience at Moe's. But some of you will give up on community for the rest of your life because you had one bad small group experience one time. And if we're honest, it wasn't probably even the whole group, right? It was one person or it was one clique in your one small group, and now you're just kind of going to throw off community altogether. And I want to beg you, don't do that. Don't do that, especially if you know that you need it, especially if you want it. And I know it's scary, and because we value love and belonging so much, we're scared to death that we're going to get rejected. And a lot of us have been rejected before, so we're afraid to make that leap. But I'm telling you, don't let one bad group experience scare you from taking the step that you need to take. Some of you are still living at home. You need a home away from home more than anybody, as you know. Some of you had a bad experience at home, so when we talk about home, and that's like a trigger word. I heard 2 college girls in the same day tell me recently that their experience of being in the home of a family at Athens Church was healing for them because their home life wasn't good. One of them said, my home life is so bad, I can't even go home for holidays. But the family that she knows at Athens Church found out about that and invited her in. And so every Easter and every Thanksgiving, she goes and have Easter and Thanksgiving with them. And she talked about how healing it was. And so if you have a bad kind of tough home background, hey, I'm so glad you're here tonight. God might want to use your college years in a church like Athens Church to help heal some of that if you'll try it. And so here's the opportunity you have. This is basically the last thing. It's to join a group. We don't do this college nights thing every week so that you can do this every week, so that you can serve every week. And the step to sign up is exactly the same as Backstage Pass. You can go on our website, athens.church.com. If I haven't mentioned our Instagram account, at Athens Church College, there's a link in our bio where you can sign up to join a group. And when you go on there, it's kind of like you're shopping for a new hoodie, right? There's filters. So you pick, I want to join a girls group, on a Tuesday night, and I'm a sophomore. I want to join a guys group. I'm a freshman that needs to meet on Sundays. And then you just pick. You pick whatever option works for you. We started with over 40 groups, I think, and we're trying our best to add more. But honestly, so many of you have signed up. So please hear me say this important note. If you go on the website and you don't find what you're looking for, please tell us. At the bottom of the site, there's a link. And on the link, you just click, and it says essentially if you can't find what you need. And just tell us in the form, I'm a sophomore, and I'm looking to be in a group on a Thursday, with some other guys, or with some other girls. Tell us, and we're going to try to build some groups as best we can, or we're going to be able to plug you in if certain people drop from the group or whatever. But you can join a group tonight, and they start Sunday. So if you're here tonight and you already signed up for a group, and you're thinking, when does my group start? Your group starts Sunday. And even if your group doesn't meet on Sundays, that's okay. But we do this thing called College Link, and it's when our groups start. So this Sunday night at 7 o'clock on the green space, which is amazing environment to be on the green space. At 7 o'clock is when our new small groups start. And so if you joined a group, or if you join a group tonight, you'll get to meet them Sunday. And then you'll kind of start from there, kind of meeting on whatever schedule that you normally meet on. But what do you get if you join a group? You get some friends. Honestly, you're going to get some free food. It's a pretty sweet deal. that small group leader is probably going to cook for you every now and then. You'll get a mentor, really more than a mentor. You'll get spiritual mothers and fathers. You'll get people who are there for you, who want to be a guide for you. You'll have a place to go. And I've heard hundreds of stories of these. This is Carrie. Carrie's actually my neighbor, and so she let me share this. This is a Facebook post. This is their group at Disney World, no masks. That's how much faith they have, because their college years at Athens Church. I'm kidding. Okay, it's before everything. Tough crowd. All right, so this is what she said. 4 years ago, these girls walked into Group Link at Athens Church College so they could find community as they started their journey at UGA. Today, we celebrated with a seniors trip to Walt Disney World. We drove to Florida last night, slept for 3 hours, and then tackled 4 parks in one day. Katie, who's the co-leader of the group, and I are going to miss them so much as they graduate and move on. Watch out, world. Hashtag circles are better than rows. This is another one. This is a guy named Fledge. So these guys are a little older. This is like 3 or 4 years post-graduation at one of the guys' weddings. Here's what I can't shake from this picture. Not the guy photobombing, though that's awesome. Look at this picture for a second. Fledge is not their dad. Fledge looks like their dad in this picture. Fledge is not their dad. Fledge is their college small group leader 4 years later in the wedding. That could be you. Somebody told me the other day, they're like, I'm thinking about joining a group at Athens Church. I said, why not? Like, what do you have to lose? Maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe it's not your vibe. Maybe it doesn't fit with your schedule, right? But at least you can say that you tried. At least that you can say that you put yourself out there. At least you can say that you did something to fight back against 2020, because 2020 has been fighting against you. At least you can call your mama and tell her you joined a group at church. You'll just pass out. Make sure she's okay. I've been talking a lot. I want to show you a quick video of 2 college students and what their experience has been like in a community group at Athens Church, kind of with this adult leader, this multi-generational, we meet in the home of an adult. I want you to check out their experience. Actually, one of the groups is a new group that Fledge has been leading. And so check this out. I'll be back to tell you how we're going to wrap up.
I came from a background where I always went to church, but never really took church as a portion of the whole college thing.
When I moved off to college, I really didn't have a plan for how I was going to make friends or for how I was going to get plugged into the community or anything. I had a bunch of really unhealthy friendships. I would go out a lot, stuff like that. The normal college life when you get to Athens. But I didn't have that solid rock of community to lean on.
But I came home, I remember that Christmas, and my mom was just like, "You need to get your life together. You're a complete wreck, and you're coming home if you don't start going to church."
I had one good friend. His name was Alex, and he was the one that really got me involved with Athens Church. He invited me to College Link, and really without even trying, we got put into the same small group, which was truly a blessing.
After coming to Athens Church for a year, my friend Caitlin texted me. She was like, "Do you want to join a small group?" So I was like, I'm not used to sharing anything with anyone. And now I'm asked to just every single week talk to people about what's going on in my life. And I was just like, that seems like just way too much. But that's not what they ask you to do.
When I got there, we sat down on the first day and Fledge was like, this is a community group. This isn't a Bible study. We're going to talk about Jesus and we're going to talk about how you're going to grow in your relationship with the Lord. But the main purpose of this group is to build community and to have people that you can lean on in times of need. So that kind of changed the way I thought about what the group was going to be for the better.
They've been absolutely incredible in my life. They speak wisdom and the word of God into you when you aren't believing it. And they remind you of the faith that you do have within you that you don't even know. And they bring a whole new perspective to your life where they're going through a completely different struggle than you or the exact same one. And they can either walk with you through it or they've been there before and they can give you some advice. It's just been incredible to have that outlet here.
And really being in a group has allowed me to find that community again and find that accountability that I needed that I wasn't getting with just kind of going at it on my own. That's really helped me grow.
I wish that I had started sooner. I wish that it was my first semester in college and I had just done it. I wish that I could have had that experience and that refuge and family to just walk through the entirety of college with, because I didn't even know that could be a thing.
It's just being able to surround myself with people that have the same intentions as me and want the best for me. That's what's really made the biggest difference in my life and in my time here at school.
My small group means the absolute world. It's been amazing in my life. I cannot express to you enough.
I had a girl tell me the other day that Athens Church has been her support system in college. And when she said that, I thought, that's exactly it. Like that's what a home away from home is. It's a system. It's these choices that you can make. It's these things that we offer to support you. That's what a group is. That's what a small group is. But you don't get the support from a group if you don't try it. You don't get the satisfaction of coming on a Sunday morning and serving some kids if you don't take a step like Backstage Pass. Let's check it out. You don't benefit from being here. Nobody's gonna benefit from the Quarter Life Crisis series in a few weeks if nobody's inviting them, right? And so I wanna invite you into taking some of these steps. I mentioned earlier our success question. How do we know that we're winning? This is it. Are you connected to somebody of another generation at our church? Are you connected to somebody of another generation at our church? If so, don't stop. And if not, now is your chance. Now's your chance. Everything we talked about tonight, I promise you can do it. And I promise it's worth it if you want a home away from home. Here's how we're gonna wrap up. Will you stand up with me? You've been sitting, you've been so good. I want us to sing that song, the new song that we sang earlier, that Adam sang. It says, my hands are open and my heart is free. That's just been my prayer tonight for you as I'm thinking about tonight. You come into the room, your heart's not free. Could you leave and your heart be free? Can I tell you the secret to how to get there? The secret is this. The secret is open hands. The secret is surrender. I'm like kind of a control freak. Any control freaks in the house? Show of hands. Thank you very much, my people. So I would rather control every outcome of my life. I love having plans. 2020 blew all my plans up, okay? Here's the opportunity we have tonight. Open hands. God, whatever you want to do, He brought you here for a reason. To this city, to this school, to this church tonight for whatever reason, right? And so this song is like our last 5 minutes together of the night. It's just our chance to say, God, whatever you have in front of me, whatever scary step you're leading me into that seems scary, but I know it's good, I just want to say yes to you. I'm just trying to say yes to you. So I'm gonna invite them to lead this song. And God, that's just my prayer for these guys and girls. The fact that they're here tonight is proof that they want to connect with you, is proof that they want you a part of their life. Give us the courage and the grace to say yes. Give us peace as we step into uncertainty. And give us a heart that is free. Just a heart that's free. Somebody put your hand on your heart. Just put your hand on your heart. God, give them a heart that's free. In Jesus' name, amen.